Hi, dear boys and girls. It's time for the Jeep Talk Show interview. And tonight we're going to be talking with Marc Lawson. Marc is with Trail Team Challenge. So do you go out on the trail and you challenge people, like maybe to a fist fight or arm wrestle, or how does that work, Marc?
Not exactly. We do have some marksmanship involved, but
nice.
yeah, so,
I like this.
Yep, one of the many different categories.
Is that a twist on your name, the marksmanship, or is it actually shooting guns?
It's actually shooting guns.
Okay, good.
Or actually, let me take that back. It's not always guns. Marksmanship could be
true.
other things.
You can archery, crossbow. What is it? The straw with the spitballs in it. There's all kinds of stuff you could. Darts. Yeah. Have you ever gotten one to stick into the tree or the wood with the handle?
Yeah,
I saw one like that the other day. The lady was throwing the thing at the axes, the hatchets actually, and she stuck. I mean, it was real. She did really good. And they walk up, and it's in there. It's in there with the handle. Yeah. So Marc Lawson is the owner operator of Tampa Jeep Lab and the mastermind behind the Trail Team Challenge. An avid off-roader. Is it Raider or Rotor?
Rotor.
Okay. I like Raider. I would change it to that. An avid off-roader, an outdoor enthusiast. So I'm just going to jump in there now. I just asked you about this before we started recording. What's the deal with the backpacks? Do you sell backpacks? Is this a backpack store? Because everybody watching on YouTube sees about 8 backpacks, but there's more. It's like the guy, but wait, there's more.
Yeah, part of it has to do with I was in the military for a while in the Air Force, so you're kind of taught to have your go bags, your 24-hour bag, your 72-hour bag. And I don't want to say I'm like a prepper, but being in Florida, which is where I'm based out of, we've got hurricanes, and everything I have is somewhat organized, like, hey, grab and go, whatever I need. Like, we're heading out of town to Stony Lonesome this weekend. I really don't have to pack much because I've got a couple bags that I can just grab and put in the Jeep and I'm on the road. So, I've got some for going out in the boat, some that carry camera equipment and all the GoPros. I've got medical bags here ready to go. And soon I'll have a diaper bag over here because I got a little one on the way in about 5 weeks.
Well,
so
congratulations. And these two things don't have anything to do with one another, but thank you for your service. And congratulations on the baby. Newly married as well, right?
Yep. Found out about a month after the wedding that the little one was on the way. So yeah, fun year.
Excellent. So that's really, really good. Now, let me ask you about the hurricane thing. There's people that I'm in the Southeast Texas Gulf Coast, and there's a lot of things that people don't understand about hurricanes. And the one of the things that I did, I try not to go out during a hurricane or even after a hurricane, but they always seem to happen at night. And that's not always true, but around here, it always seems like it's at night when you need to go. So very bright lights is good whenever you're in an area with down power lines and telephone poles and trees and everything, so you can see if that's a good way to go or not. So, it's always lockers before lights. Well, it really depends on where you are and what you're using those lights for. Now, lockers might be good too, but lights is something that I always say may keep you from having to use the lockers in a tropical storm or hurricane event. The other thing that I've done with my Jeeps is I put a snorkel on them. Now, the primary purpose of a snorkel is to get clean air. That's the reason why they were developed, but they do have a side benefit of not allowing water to be ingested into the engine. So, and again, it's a Gulf Coast type thing, because I've seen, we don't even have to have tropical stuff to get flooding here in the Houston area. So I'm not going to go into heavy water, but I don't want to be in a situation where I'm in the heavy water, the deep water, inadvertently or made a mistake and not be able to continue on with my Jeep to get it out there. There may be some stuff ruined, but the Jeep's not going to be underwater and not going to be flooded. I'm going to be able to get through it with that snorkel. So do you have similar thoughts being in a hurricane area, and you can differ from me, please feel free to.
So prior to me, actually, in my youth, I was involved in a program called the Civil Air Patrol, which is a nationwide program auxiliary of the Air Force. And when I was a cadet, I got very involved in emergency services and search and rescue, which kind of started a lot of my outdoor, self-sufficient survival preparedness type mindset. And, we were taught at a very young age that if you can, you get out of the way. also be prepared at all times. So for me, I do have a snorkel on one of my my 97 Wrangler that I have. My new Gladiator, I don't. I think a lot of it is where I live in town. I'm not prone to flooding. I'm far enough away from where the water areas are, the flood zones are. So I personally wouldn't see it. And because I'm not actually affiliated with any current search and rescue programs or rescue groups, I kind of just stay away and stay as a regular civilian right now for the most part. If that may change, I'm a big proponent on, if you want to help in times of need, sign up beforehand, be trained beforehand, have the communication lines, already set, because sometimes when people do jump into these natural disasters, it causes more chaos because people are just showing up. Where do you go? Who do you report to? Funding has been allocated. There's not funding for you to just show up and take money and take resources. So
well, there's training too. You can't train people on the fly. I mean, you got people to save. You got people the things that you got to do, not train at the same time.
Right. And the community, the off-road community, are really great people, and they do have, for the most part, that heart where they want to get out and they want to help immediately. Mm-hmm. So, it's almost like, 4 months, 6 months before hurricane season around here, we almost need to start making things. Hey, you guys want to volunteer during hurricane season? Go find this organization or that organization. Get started now, because when it comes time to, I seen people a couple years ago going to Fort Myers running out of gas. I'm like, wait, you went to Fort Myers to help. You didn't plan because you haven't been trained. You've never done this before. And now you're on the side of the interstate with no gas and no way to get back home. Right. Now you're just adding, so, that plays a little bit into it. But so I really, like I said, I've kind of got away from the search and rescue, the resources. Now I'm starting a family. I've got some older people in my family, and I'm just more taking care of my community, I'll say. Mm-hmm. My close friends, my parents, my mother-in-law, cousins and whatnot. So I'm usually the house that keeps a lot of them here. And then as soon as it's passed, it's clear, then I'm immediately distributing my supplies to my immediate family and whatnot. So mm-hmm.
I don't mean to make this an EV episode, but I think this is kind of the problem with people in EVs, because they don't, oh, it's electric. I just plug it in and I charge it. And I have range anxiety. I have a problem with EVs because there's not a gas station, not a charging station at every place there's a gas station. So, and I don't think people think this stuff through. It's fine if 99% of the time you don't have to worry about it, but man, if you want to go to grandma's house on Thanksgiving, you better have an internal combustion engine, or plan out your route. Maybe take a 230 mile trip just to plan and make sure all the EVs are there. EV charging stations are there. And oh, by the way, are the stations going to be available? Because there may be other people doing the same thing. And this is the same thing with fuel and because people think it's a gas station, but if you're in an area without electricity, if you're in an area that, especially if the hurricane was coming there, everybody fills up their tank, there may not be fuel. And then there may not be electricity to pump the fuel.
Yeah. So my wife is from New York, actually. And, I'm one of the people where, all right, if it's within a proximity coming to me, I'm going to go get fuel. I'm going to go get groceries. And it's not, some people, oh, you guys are panic buying. No, I'm prepared buying is what I call it. If the fuel doesn't get used this week in generators and in whatnot, it'll get used up next week just getting to work and getting around town.
Sure.
The food will be ate. I'm not stockpiling 5 freezers at the house. I'm just buying my groceries now instead of waiting until the end of the week to buy them. And this last storm came and hit us, I think, on a Thursday. And Sunday, I was out buying everything. I had all my gas cans loaded up, my garage set, checked my generator, everything was good. And literally the next day, there it went on the news. The grocery stores are running out of this. Gas stations are running out of that. I looked at my wife and I'm like, see, I did it just in time.
Yeah. And it takes some experience to go through this stuff. And it's also, too, I think the news has a lot to do with it as well, because I don't know if you remember Katrina. That was such a horrific thing for Louisiana. I mean, when you build a city that's below sea level and it's on the Gulf Coast and there's a possibility of a hurricane, bad things can happen. But so that was a big item on the news. And just about a week later, 2 weeks later, I don't remember exactly because I think it was around 2005 all this happened. Hurricane Rita, which was also a Category 5, but it was coming to Southeast Texas. And I-10 was stacked up. Our neighbors evacuated, and they were basically sitting 2 miles from their house for 12 hours. And actually, that's whenever I decided that I was going to take the Cherokee, my first Jeep, and lift it and put tires and stuff on it, so we could go where there's no roads. So me and my family aren't in a Category 5 hurricane sitting on a freeway.
Well, and that's a part of the preparedness is like if you are going to leave, sometimes you would need to take fuel with you, or at least cans to fill up wherever you go to get back. Because same thing, I had some friends leave to go to the Carolinas, and they got stuck in Ocala for 3 days. Because by the time they got to Ocala, 2-3 hours from Tampa, there was no gas for them to get home.
Sure.
And they weren't the only ones. But it's funny you mentioned snorkels earlier, and as well as EV. I actually saw my first 4xe with a snorkel drive by me in town, and I'm just like, Well,
4xe really isn't an electric vehicle. I mean,
But if you're going that high, that means all those batteries in that back seat are under the water.
I wonder if it'll run fine with dead batteries, especially salt water. We're actually very lucky to have internal combustion engine vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Salt water might make it with that snorkel wouldn't make a damn bit of difference because now you just have a nice vehicle fire.
We've got a lot of saltwater vehicles that are trying to come through my shop, and I've had to turn a lot of them down. It's just going to snowball.
Well, it's going to be a nightmare.
It's going to be a nightmare. And they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it because I've had this Jeep, this YJ, since it was brand new, and I'm just like, it's going to be a nightmare, and I don't want to put my name on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially just the electrical. I mean, you may get the engine fine. You maybe get the transmission back fine, differentials, transfer case, all that stuff could be perfectly fine. But the electrical gremlins, all the things that got burned up or new circuits established, it's going to be a pain. That's going to be a huge pain. And I don't know if I've never done it, but I've messed with enough harness wiring to know I would not like to get a new harness and run that thing and hook it all back up. That would be just amazing. All right. Well, anyway, so let's get to the other stuff I was going to talk to you about. Do you have a Jeep? It's okay if you don't, but do you have a Jeep?
I do. So currently right now I have a 97 TJ that's in the middle of a buggy build. We'll say the axles are at sandblasting right now. Had that one since 2008. Nice. And then I have, my wife has a JL Wrangler right now. And then I have a Gladiator as my daily driver. Oh,
that's right. You did mention the Gladiator. So on the TJ, what axles are you going with? Is it, or are you sticking with the Dana 35 and the Dana 30?
No. So I had actually already swapped about 5 years ago. I put some Rubicon axles under it, and then enjoyed those for a couple years. And then on a trip, I was just kind of like, you know what? It's ready for the next step. So we're putting some Super Duties under it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of Moto Built stuff going to their 4-link kit, their truss kit, they're with the hydro. I mean, just the whole nine. Moto Built's almost made it too easy nowadays to not use all their stuff. Yeah,
they make some wonderful things. I have, like I mentioned earlier, I have the XJ, bought it brand new, 97, 98, whatever it was, and did a lot of modifications to it. But when we got the Gladiator back in 2021, I was at a loss as to who to go with. I mean, I knew who to go with for the XJ. I knew who to go with for the TJs. Anything I wanted to do to them for the suspension and all the rest of that stuff. But I had no idea for the Gladiator. But I went with the Mopar 2-inch lift, but then I needed bumpers and all kinds of things, and I kept poking around, and I went, I like this stubby bumper from Moto Built. And I'm going to risk the 650, 680, whatever it was, and give that a try. Now, I'm not a welder, but I like to think I can see the art of the welding. And when I got that bumper, it was absolutely gorgeous. The welding, the bends, all that stuff was. So then I was pretty well sold on Moto Built. and got their rear bumper. And I actually got the one so that you're a Gladiator. You know that the back of the Gladiator there's a nice sweet spot there to be able to crush the bed behind the rear tires. So Motobuilt, their Crusher Series bumper was a wraparound, and also you could buy the additional the thing that comes with the Rubicon Gladiator, that protection that's there. And then I went with the Motobuilt skid system. Oh my God, that is just gorgeous. It's just flat steel, but nothing hangs down. There's no exposed bolts. It's just it's sad that nobody gets to see it. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. So I love the Motobuilt stuff.
Yeah, I have to take a look at your Gladiator then, because mine is wrapped in Motobuilt as well. It's a daily driver. I mean, it is lifted with the 2-inch Mopar as well, 37s, but Motobuilt front and rear, Motobuilt fenders and liners front and rear as well. So a lot of Motobuilt door panels in it. I mean, it's good stuff. It's quality stuff. And Dan probably doesn't want to hear this, but wait until Black Friday, and then you can get the biggest sale of the year.
Hey, that's when I got the skid system a couple of years ago.
That's when I go swipe and get everything every year. So,
yeah, I got to meet and speak with Dan and his wife at EGS in 2024. They had a Motobuilt thing at a private house, and it was great. And I got to meet Bender for the first time. We've had Bender on the show a number of times, and actually got to meet him there at that event. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm planning on seeing them Monday, actually. So we're going to Stony Lonesome Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we're passing right through there. The last time I stopped there was on my way home from Moab also. Happened to go over to Disley, Oklahoma, do some wheeling, and when I came through, they were still at their last building in Dothan. So I figured this time we're going to drive right by. I'll catch them on the way home and check in with them and Bobby Cox too, and see what's going on.
So this was pretty funny. It was neat too. I got to see the stubby, not bumper, the stubby bed, the shortened bed that they make. The bobbed bed on the Gladiators that they had at that the EJS thing. That was neat to look at. I just wish they were color matched, and it's a really cool thing. And they designed it really well. Where really, I think all you have to do is just cut the frame off to shorten it up so you can fit the bed on it. So it's like I'm not doing it, so I haven't read a lot about it, but I suspect that it's something you can do at home with a cutoff wheel and a bunch of discs. Actually, I know a couple people that did do it at home themselves. But I will say this, and it's not going to happen, but I think it would look a lot nicer on a 2-door Gladiator. And shame on Jeep for not making one, because I think a 2-door Gladiator would almost look like a Brute with a bed, Anyway, and it's really funny. Speaking of Brute, I was talking to somebody from AEV doing an interview with them, and you probably know this. I did not know. I always thought the Brutes were TJs, but I was corrected during the interview that they had JK Brutes as well, and I had no idea. It makes sense, but. Do you know Greg Henderson, Unofficial Use Only?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Greg is actually building 2 Brutes right now in his little shop, and it's been fun to watch that build. I still think those Jeeps ought to be red instead of white, but that's you have to go with what the customer likes.
Yeah, we've also got Bruiser Conversions is here local to us, and they kind of have their own Brutes as well that they've been doing from the JK platform. Before the Gladiators came out too, so we've seen a lot of those in town. I was very impressed with the Brute. It looked really neat. That 2-door short. Jeeps are just fun, and that's really what Jeeps are a lot about: is making your Jeep unique to you. And that's one of the things that's so much fun with it. If there's anybody out there that doesn't have a Jeep, you're thinking about getting a Jeep, that's one of the attractions to it is, you can make it personalized. So anyway, mine's my Gladiator's a daily driver too. It's so funny. I have a Jeep Talk Show logo on the sides of it. It's about 4 foot square Jeep Talk Show logo. And I remember we didn't have the Gladiator very long.
And I told my wife I'm going to go over to Underground Graphics and get the logo on. And she goes, "Oh, I was hoping we'd be able to keep it nice for a little while longer." I said, "It's a show I've been doing for a long time. You got to advertise it, honey." But she didn't. She didn't want the logo on it.
Yep. I've all I have is over the top says the Jeep Lab for the shop. But I kept mine very clean and simple. But it almost looks like a club banner, but it's just the shop name across the top. So
right. What all do you guys do at your shop?
Pretty much everything but engine rebuilds and transmission rebuilds. So axle work, suspension work, fenders, bolt-on stuff. Pretty much I don't get into the audio too much. I mean, I'll do a head unit, but
teach their own, but what's the damn point? Yeah. I mean, you don't have to have a expensive audio system to listen to a podcast. Hint, hint.
Yeah. And nowadays, it's also, they want to throw in, a camera system, and they want to add lights around the speakers. And it's like with the technology too, there's a lot of modules and little things that are needed. And for me to stock all that, I mean, I need almost its own bay just on audio. And there's a couple good shops in town that we work really well with. And I'm like, hey,
perfect.
You want the audio stuff? Go see, if you're on this side of Tampa here, you're on that side of Tampa, go there. I trust their work, quality products. And that's a good thing about our area in Tampa is we do have a lot of shops. But if you drive 45 minutes in Tampa, you're going to pass 100 Jeeps guaranteed. I mean, there's so many Jeepers in this market that we can have 10 shops in the city, and we all get along great. We all work together really well. When we get in binds, we can call on one another to see if someone has something in stock, that we need right at the moment. So it helps the community in the long run as well.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great way to be too. It's very Jeepy. To be that way. So let me ask you, do you do ring and pinion? Do you set up axles?
Yeah, we started to do that not too long ago. We've got another shop that I'm good buddies with, and that's kind of his main bread and butter. So if I'm doing a lot of big stuff, I'll do that. But if it's just a call like, hey, I just want gear work, I just say, hey, go to Ron real quick. Mm-hmm. That's mainly, he's just churning them out left and right. That's all he does other stuff, but that's his bread and butter.
Right. Yeah, no, it makes sense. So this may not be a good question for you, and you can always say pass. What's the deal with the Yukon ring and pinion? Do you know what I'm talking about?
In the JLs and JTs?
The replacements. When you buy Yukon, they've been having issues with them going bad. I don't know that it's necessarily JL, JT, but that's one of them.
Yeah, I know that they were doing a lot of Yukons and the JKs, and they were fine. They were great. They were lasting. And it seems like the JL, JT stuff, people were even talking about like the finish they were seeing out of the box just looked like pitting. There was some stuff going on with it. Wow. It just wasn't the same finish. And then they're pretty much, everyone's saying like they're humming down the road. So I know, and just, it seems like right now it's Spicer and a lot of Revolution in the JL.
Perfect.
JT
that was going to ask you that next. That's what I've also heard, Spicer and Revolution. Yeah. Spicer seems to be a no-brainer. I mean, the people that build axles for Jeep is generally, it's not guaranteed, but you would expect them to maintain the high quality and generally more, and I would say generally more expensive. I don't know that it is, but it may be more expensive with Spicer. But losing a ring and pinion is a very expensive thing. This is another good question. I mean, this isn't a price quote, but I remember checking about having a ring and pinion changed out. Like I think it was on my XJ, and it was about $900 per axle, and that was a number of years ago. Does that sound about right? Is it still about $900, $1,800 for front and rear?
About $2,200.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
For just regular ring and pinion, no lockers or anything, but yeah.
Well, that was going to be the next question. Does it matter if you throw lockers in there too? I mean, you're already in there.
Not in the labor, but obviously in the part.
Oh yeah.
And then the other thing too, what we're doing on all JLs and JTs is we're pretty much trussing and putting trusses on the C gussets as well when we're doing it.
Yeah, that's a very good thing to do. And we'll cover more information about that for you guys later. But it's really nice to have that, because you're going to have less problems with the axles. I mean, I know that the JLs, probably the JTs too, have had some problems with the front axles breaking, and putting a truss on it's going to make that less likely.
Yeah, and then in the big thing too, when we first started getting into it, we saw a lot of that. But also, I've ran into the issue where we've pulled VINs and got the build sheets from Mopar, and the Jeep has showed up, and not had what the build sheet says in it.
Really?
Yeah, and that's caused obviously problems if we're not, stocking everything available on the shelf. But I've reached out to the dealerships that I do some business with, and I'm like, hey, are you seeing this? And they're going, yep. So I don't know if it was, hey, this thing is on the assembly line. It's supposed to have, 410s, and well, all we got right now is 373s. Put them in there, and someone isn't updating it on the back end. Well, yeah, and that's what I've been running into, and that's why I've been like, you know what? I don't stock a lot of this. I would order as needed from doing one here and one there for a friend or whatnot. But Ron is stacking a bunch up in the shop. So when he runs into that, he's like, well, I just pull this box out instead, and we'll just keep going with it.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, if you don't have a large stock of things to pick from, you're kind of like, hey, sorry, we can't work on it because you don't got what it's supposed to have. So, and they'll be confused, like, well, why would Jeep do that? Hey, it's a really good question.
Yeah. I mean, same thing. You can't put the diff covers on that the customer, brought you or ordered because they're different. So yeah, it's.
So, and correct me on this. I think the majority, unless it's a Rubicon, the front axle on a JLU is a Dana 30. And have you seen a situation where they were supposed to have a Dana 44? I don't know if any of the Wranglers come with 44s other than the Rubicon. I'm sure they wouldn't do this to a Rubicon. I would hope God not. They would have a lot more problems if it was. But anyway, have you seen a situation where they were supposed to have a Dana 44 and they had a 30?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So we've seen that. But now, with the JK platform, you knew with a Rubicon you had 410s, right? You knew if you had, say, a Sahara or a Sport and it had the tow package, the factory, you knew 373s. Now there's no tell. I mean, you can have a Rubicon with 456s in it. You can have a Sport S that's a Gladiator that's a max tow that has 410s in it.
Yeah,
that is standard with the max tow, which is what I have as well. But some of these people don't know that they have a max tow. They're like, oh no, I got a Sport. They're like, and you're almost like, okay, give me your VIN. I got to look up and see exactly what you have. Well,
the axles are different too because they're Rubicon axles minus the lockers.
Correct.
And that's going to make a big difference on what you do to work on them. They're wider and bigger tube size.
When you're ordering stuff, because I do allow customers to buy some stuff within discretion, but they're like, oh, I don't have a Rubicon. I have a Sport. And I'm like, no, not necessarily. And they're new to the community. They don't know much, so I have to catch that a lot too when we're ordering stuff. But yeah, we've seen all kinds of.
You have to do a lot more than just work on the thing. You have to be a therapist, and explain the realities to people in a very nice way because you want the customer to be happy.
And you mentioned it earlier about Jeeps, and being able to customize them and making your own. My kind of thing is I always say they're like adult Legos. Yeah. I mean, you can do them, but you do get people that have, I've always wanted a Jeep. I got a Jeep. Hey, Mark, what do I do to this? And I'm like,
oh, good Lord. That's a loaded question.
Yeah. I'm like, you start taking photos of Jeeps that you see that have things on them you like. And then you bring those photos back to me and I tell you what brand they are. And then we talk about a build process because I feel like now with the JLs and the JTs, there is almost a little process to doing some of these things now to where you're not backpedaling or you're not, installing something to uninstall it because it's in the way of something else, where I feel like the TJ and the JK, you got a little bit away from that. Like the TJ, okay, if you're going to go to this height lift, this is kind of the ideal tire size for off-roading. You need the SYE, you need the cable shifter, I recommend. The JLs
shifter. The XJ was bad too.
Yeah, it's like you could go so many different directions with these JLs and JTs that almost sitting down and coming up with a plan.
Well, you kind of need to sit down and say, where do you see you and your Jeep in 5 years?
But how many of us would say that we're buying a Jeep today and in 5 years we're opening a shop full time? I've always had a Jeep. My first vehicle was a Jeep. Got away from it for a little while after flipping it 8 times down the interstate and not being comfortable in a lifted vehicle for a little bit, and then coming back to the Jeep world. But yeah, I mean, people get into the Jeeps and then it engulfs them. And they start with the cheap stuff and then they go, why did I ever do that? Let me go buy this quality brand that's going to last. But also they're learning with the Jeep too. They're learning the capabilities and why they should have this versus that. So it's a lot for some people, getting right into it.
That having that Jeep experience makes a big deal. I can see why you got into the shop thing. It's you can save people a lot of time and money, and also to make their experience happier.
Yes.
So anyway, good conversation. That's fun. Glad to hear you got a Gladiator. Oh, well, let me ask you this: what do you think about the Gladiator? Do you think that was a bad choice? Because there's some people out there that don't like the Gladiator. It's a half-ass Jeep. It's a half-ass truck. They say it's not how I feel about it.
I think we're gonna need another show about my Gladiator.
That's fine.
Yeah. I love my Gladiator. I will just keep it short and simple and say I'm on my third motor and I'm still having issues, and I am ready to go to war with the brand of Jeep over this Jeep.
Is it the upper valve? The valve train up at the top part of the engine?
Like I said, I could take up a 2-hour show going down everything that Jeep has done to my Gladiator to try to make it run. And this is starting at 1,200 miles with a multiple cylinder misfire.
That's a shame. That is just a shame.
And I'll say my most recent trip, because again, I've had it, it's a 22. I bought it in April, a month before Jeep Beach. And I will say my last interaction with Jeep was that they flew in 2 master techs and told me that my Jeep smoking is normal. And my response was, you should fire your master techs.
Oh, absolutely. That's a PR
because
thing.
it didn't smoke when I bought it. And the rental Gladiators that you give me when you're working on mine for 2-3 months at a time don't smoke either.
That's a shame. I'm so glad that we haven't had any issues with ours. I asked that because it sounds like you have more of an issue than what I was going to suggest. Are you familiar with the Baxter Performance oil filter adapter?
I am. I actually talked to those gentlemen right when they first came out. And then Kevin and Scott have On the Trail podcasts that are here local. And I introduced them at Jeep Beach 2 years ago. Yeah. And they did a show with them as well. And Scott's running around with one of their Baxters. And I was actually going to put it on my Gladiator. But again,
well, you don't want to have any problems with Jeep saying, what the hell is this thing?
Exactly. So that's why, my lift wheels tires got on the day I picked up the Jeep. The fenders came not long after. And then it's almost come to a standstill with a shelf of parts for my truck.
That's a shame.
That I just have not done because I don't know that I'm going to have it. I mean, I filled out the card for the lemon law. No one called me. No one said anything to me. I had to call Jeep customer care to take it back for the coolant reservoir that was leaking that they couldn't find for 3 times until I got my service advisor and the mechanic outside in the parking lot. And I said, do you see this? Do you smell this? See that right there? That's coolant. Are we going to fix this today? And when I called to open the case with Jeep customer care, they said, oh, well, which case is it? We have another one here for a buyback. I'm like, oh, you do? Because no one's called me. Nobody's called me. Well, it says here that it was declined. Okay, well, was someone going to let me know? And what it is with lemon law, you have state lemon law and you have federal lemon law.
Right.
And when I talked to the lemon law attorney, he said, you absolutely qualify for federal, not state. But I guess Jeep customer care only looks at state. So I basically do have to hire an attorney and sue Jeep now.
Gee whiz. I'm so sorry you're having problems with the Gladiator.
Well,
like I said,
early 22s though. Early 22s because 3 of them came in that were the same and a friend bought the other one and she's had nothing but issues with hers. And then another shop down the road at a different dealership bought one a month after mine and theirs got a new motor 2 weeks after they bought theirs as well.
I'm really surprised to hear this about the 3.6. The 3.6 is a really seems to be a really stable engine. The only issue is that upper valve train issue that it can have due to lack of oil if it sits very long. All right. Anyway, let's. That's a lot of fun. That's a lot of Jeep talk. Yeah, we could talk Jeep stuff here for a while. Trail Team Challenge. Now, I'd asked you before we got started. Do you just call it Trail Team Challenge, or do you call it Trail Team Challenge Florida? Florida was how it actually started out, right? Right.
Yeah. So we started with Florida Trail Team Challenge. Some mixed, feedback, just thinking that it was for people only in Florida, and that's not the case. So we've kind of dropped the name and just Trail Team Challenge. And as we've kind of evolved, we've also spoken to some other locations that have showed interest in hosting it that are out of state. So yeah, we've kind of just dropped the name. I mean, I know the shirt says it now, but yeah, we're just doing Trail Team Challenge. It has been in Florida for the past 3 seasons of it. So
tell me more about what the Trail Team Challenge is.
All right. So it is open to more than just Jeeps. Let me say that. So Broncos.
Oh, hang on. I got a sound for that. All
right. well, we got to have competition to put them in their place, right?
You're make the Jeeps look better. Okay.
All right, there we go. So any mid-sized vehicle can compete. So FJs, 4Runners, Tacomas, Colorados, Rangers, like I said, FJs already.
Is Renegade considered a midsize, or is it I'm sorry, not clown size.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have a tough time, but yeah, you could technically do it. Just any mid-sized vehicle, Gladiators, JKs, TJs, all that. We've had involved. So, I mean, basically, it comes down to kind of being just an ultimate off-roader outdoorsman, steward of being, in the off-road community. What it's based around is the common things that myself and you would come across in any given off-roading, trip, right? So typically if me and you were going to load up and we're going to go hit, a trail, for a weekend, what are we going to do? We're going to sit down, we're going to plan out our trail. We're going to think about the gear that we need. We're going to prep our vehicle before we go. What all are could potentially go wrong that we need to be prepared for, maybe bring in tools, first aid stuff if we get hurt or, something freak accident happens can we take care of ourselves or get us to where we need to be to get assistance? And also, are we respectful when we're out on the trails? Are we being good stewards? If we come across people that are outside enjoying nature as well and they need assistance, are we able to help them? Or worst case scenario, are we having to go into survival mode because something happens, unfortunately, and communication's down, or we're out in, the middle of nowhere where it's going to be a while till someone comes across us? Can we, stay well and stay alive and get to where we need to be? So what we do is kind of come up with multiple challenges. The past couple of years, it's been about 45 different challenges in survival, marksmanship, navigation, first aid, recovery, off-road precision driving. Will be a variety of challenges. And just like when you go out trail riding, you don't necessarily know what's going to happen. So we're not going to tell you what these challenges are. You're not going to know that you're going down a trail and you snap a U-joint. It's just going to go when it goes. So can you make that trail fix and get back on the road? You don't know that you're going to come across a hiker who's waving you down because his partner just fell and snapped his ankle and he can't carry him out of the woods. You don't know that you're going to be out in the national forest and you're going to come across a family of 5 in a minivan that's stuck in the sand and you need to recover them and get them out, or another, off-roader with you runs into an incident and you've got to recover them, secure them, help them get back on the trail and get back home. So we kind of throw everything at them. They're given coordinates throughout the weekend. And when they get to the coordinates, they're read a scenario. And at that time, the scenario gives them, what the parameters are of the challenge, tells them what the point breakdown is. And then if they have any questions, and then they execute whatever that challenge may be. And then they get their points. And basically at the end of the weekend, whoever has the most points is the winner of the Trail Team Challenge.
So you have judges at all these locations, overseers, scorers?
Correct. So we have what I call a small army of volunteers, which every challenge has a minimum of 2 volunteers at it.
Good.
And then that's where they're also given their sheet with what the parameters are. I have what I call challenge leads, who are former competitors or volunteers from the past that are a lot more familiar with it. And what they actually do is they have a group of, the volunteers, the challenge volunteers underneath them. So I'm delegating a little bit. And what they do before the event is they actually go to the various locations, go over all the equipment that are needed for the challenges, the parameters. They kind of talk through the scenarios and any questions they may have. And then come challenge time, everybody's fluid. Everybody knows what's going on. Wake up in the morning, release the teams, and then we don't see them, pretty much for the weekend.
Now, there's no, you can have whatever you have, and you kind of need to make sure that you have everything that you may need for the challenge. But as far as communications, navigation, all that stuff, there's no limits on that, I would assume.
So what we give them is a minimum required equipment list.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. After that, it is whatever they would bring. We're not trying to make anybody who we want them to be. We're not trying to force any type of apps that they have to use. Because at the end of the day, if me and you go out and we're more comfortable with Gaia, we're going to use Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to make them, well, no, to do this, you have to learn this app. Nah, that's not how this works in the real world. Whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you're familiar with, you can use. Now, we've used private property in the past. We've used public property most recently. And if there is within the wildlife management area this last year, they recommend Avenza, right? So I said all the teams, you can use anything that you want, but in the background, you need to have Avenza. And, maybe some of the people with these apps are watching this, hopefully, and they'll see, but, there are trails on apps that are no longer open that have been closed for years. If that makes sense. So if you go on, I don't want to name drop, but if you go to certain apps and you pull it up and it says, oh, trail 19. If you go to Avenza in that wildlife management area, you're going to see that trail 19 hasn't been trail 19 for 5 years. Yes, it's still there, but it's not actually an open trail anymore. If you miss the little tiny metal signs that are this big that say trail closed, you're going to get a ticket,
right?
So, wherever we're at, we try to say, hey, we recommend this. This is what the authorities in the area say you should probably be running. But you're allowed to use whatever app and service and equipment you want.
Good.
If you've got pull pals and dead man off-road gear and,
the whole idea is to see what you can do in a situation. And the nice thing is, and it reminds me, I have never done this, but it reminds me a lot of going to a shooting event where you're going in a building, you're getting behind things, and you're being timed and accuracy and all that stuff, because it's training so that whenever you need to do this, if you ever need to do it, you'll be able to do it. It's like we were talking earlier about just the process of thinking through what's going to happen, like getting fuel before the hurricane hits. And this gives you that opportunity without having to spend 50 years of actually doing it to learn all there is to know about it. And I'm sure there's more. There's always more to learn. So do you guys have this once a year or multiple times a year?
So the plan is actually once a year, but we started before COVID. So then that kind of put a dampener in it for a little while, and then got it ramped back up again, had another successful year. The shop kind of took off at that same point, and I just dropped the ball.
Sure.
And wasn't good at bringing in a good team to help delegate.
Yeah.
So we missed a year. We just had it this last October, and it's going to be in October of 2025 this year. So we're back on ball to do it every year. And then again, we've had 2-3 properties reach out that want to do it. Northeast, Midwest, Southeast, another property. So,
okay, good. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going with that as far as the location goes, because if people hear Florida, they're thinking swamp and alligators are going to be the obstacles.
Well, and you're right, but here's the thing. I can simulate pretty much anything. So it doesn't just mean you have to go up the side of a hill. If you're, let's say, blindfolded, and I've got some off-camera stuff, what does it matter to you if you're off-camera, blindfolded, technical driving, whether you're on Moab Rim or you're in Ocala, Florida? I'm still going to put cones in an area and make the course technical.
Mm-hmm.
So,
when you said northeast, northwest, you're not talking about northeast, northwest Florida, are you?
No, I'm talking about like Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. I mean, it obviously has an impact, but a lot of our stuff is simulated. And again, it's not just off-road driving. It is, marksmanship. It is survival first aid. It is, recovery. I mean, you can roll over a vehicle anywhere in the country. It doesn't have to be on the side of a mountain to be able to do a recover rollover.
Yeah.
If you've got to use a pull pal, it doesn't have to be only in, Disney, Oklahoma, or, in the desert in Arizona. You can do these things anywhere. So we simulate a lot of stuff to make it to where, we're going to get a lot of, it's just Florida. What are you really competing in Florida? And anybody that thinks that, I come compete. We had a team
Well, I
last
mean,
year
there
from
people are
New
going to
York.
think that. Like, I don't want to go wheeling in Florida. I don't like salt
Right.
water. I mean, them gators are bitey. I don't
Yeah.
want, I don't want to go there. But then that's the case here. This isn't a Florida type thing. It just happens to be
Right.
where you're at.
Right. We had a team from Georgia, New York last year. The year before that, we had a team from Virginia come down and compete. So we have had people from out of state already enter, and everybody that does it has a blast.
So how do you then maybe you already mentioned this, but is there a limit? There has to be a limit to the number of vehicles that
20
are
temes.
20 teams, and
20 teams is our max.
And a team is 2 people, or can it be more than 2?
It is 2 people in 1 rig.
Yeah, that's a good point. So how do you now we have the website Florida Trail Team Challenge.com. Is that the best place to get more information? Do you do any YouTube stuff? I mean, this sounds like a wonderful YouTube situation, as long as you don't mind lots of video editing.
Yeah, so we do have a phenomenal media team. Our website is updated pretty often. We're kind of doing a revamp from last season ending, but Facebook and Instagram, we post a lot on those too. So that's where the most current information and literally I think our media team's posting like every week, at least on Instagram and Facebook. They're tied together. But the website is updated right now. I think there's a couple things that we're getting ready to do because registration does open February 1st.
That was my next question, is when do you get the ball started on this? I mean, if you find out more information about it, you've listened to this, maybe you've gone to YouTube or Instagram or something, this sounds like a lot of fun. I want to be a part of this. So you can do that, and don't wait till October. Don't wait till September.
Yeah. So once the 20 teams are full, they're full. And so we're actually doing something that we haven't done in the past. And one of the teams from last year brought it up, was like, hey, they did a lot of different events, and they're like, there's always like an early sign up, discount fee. Like, would you guys be open to doing that? And I'm like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. So we're going to do that this year. So the month of February is going to be early registration. It's going to be discounted. So normally it's $650. It'll be $500 for the early registration. Then the month of March is going to be closed. We're going to kind of see how many we got, keep pushing the marketing aspect of it out. And then come April 1st, it'll be open full registration. As soon as the 20 teams are full, they're full, and then that'll be it. And then typically what happens is if it doesn't fill right away, we go until 2 months out. 2 months out is the cap. That way I start ordering, gear, hats, shirts, the goodie bags, start building the team kits. Naughty Shade makes trail sacks with our logo every year for us. So we start building all their products together and putting all the sponsored kits together and whatnot. And obviously got to set up the accommodations and stuff. So 2 months prior is when the deadline would be.
How long is this event? It's not a day event?
So check-in is on Friday. So we do a tech inspection. That's where we make sure we have emergency. That's
not kosher, man.
What?
Is there a check engine light issue? Is this like getting your vehicle inspected?
No, we just make sure that you're there. You got safety information. We got your minimum equipment list. You have everything on that minimum equipment list, and that you meet the vehicle requirements, that you're not showing up in a Ultra 4 truck, or you're not showing up in a buggy on 43s. That's just not what this event. It's a trail team challenge, not the rock bouncer challenge.
Right.
So yeah, we do a brief tech inspection.
There's going to be an XJ guy there with bald tires. Just saying.
Not this last year. There was an XJ this last year, but the year before that, an XJ1.
Well, it's a great rig. I mean, I got one. They're great rigs.
Yeah. I am in the market for a 2-door XJ, but the 4-wheel drive ones are hard to find. And yeah, I know I could swap it and all that, but I just want a really clean one that I can daily and park that smoking box out front for a little bit. So
all right, well, I think you answered some of the questions I was going to ask. I was going to ask about how much it cost, and so we know it's in October. We know that the registration opens up in February, so you have time to get more information on this and be a part of it. Well, and did you say where it's going to be this year?
It is going to be actually in the same location as last year, the Withlacoochee Wildlife Management Area. We did it out of their citrus tract last year. But we're actually going to expand it into some other tracks that they have, which is like Croom, Rich Loam, Jumper Creek. So we're going to spread it out to try to mix it up so it's not the same exact place as last year. And that's in the just north of Tampa area.
Okay. And there's no timed in the scoring, right? Is there the best time wins, or it sounds like there would be a safety issue, but
no. So a lot of it is actually timed, and that keeps it from everybody getting the same points. But if you're doing marksmanship, that obviously is not going to be timed. Some things may be, okay, fastest team gets the most amount of points. Some may be in increments. Okay, if you do this in 10 minutes or less, you get this many points. If you do this in 15 minutes or less, you'll get that many points. But then we also have a cap as well on every challenge, because we don't want you on one challenge spending 2 hours there, because you can only do one team at a challenge per time. So that would just completely kill that entire challenge for everybody. So usually it's like a 30-minute cap on anything for each challenge.
Yeah, it's like trying to make the obstacle 3 times, and after the 3rd time, you're being winched, Bubba.
Gotta go.
we got other people that need to do this. All right. Well, you know how the kids love the Instagram, the TikTok, and oh my God, TikTok. There was people just losing their freaking minds when TikTok was going to be shut down.
It looks
like
I have a TikTok.
It looks like Papa Trump is going to take care of it. So where can people find you on the social media?
So the main one is going to be the website, the FloridaTrailTeamChallenge.com. And then the Instagram, I'm actually trying to look that up now just so I don't get it wrong, but is Trail Team Challenge is on Instagram, and Facebook is the same. So /Trail Team Challenge is going to be the direct contact info.
And you personally are on TikTok, or the trail team is on TikTok?
Both. Mine's a little bit more funny, I would say, but I do try to throw in some stuff that I see while I'm working on these Jeeps. Like if you have a JL and a JT, go check your coolant, because it's probably low and your reservoir is probably cracked. I can't tell you how many of those I see come in right now. My Gladiator just got a new reservoir. My JL for my wife is waiting for one, because I did the oil change the other day and noticed it leaking fluid in low. So I will put out some tips. I did an Amazon bumper the other day. So I said, I did a funny TikTok about, hey, if you're buying an Amazon bumper, you're probably going to have this powder coat missing, and it's probably going to have rust. Just know it.
Powder coat is I think powder coat is just a bad idea. Can it be done right? Yes.
Yes.
Do most people do it right? No.
I've got 2 really good powder coaters in town that are Jeepers in the community, and all my Moto Built stuff is powder coated, and it's phenomenal. But yeah, I've taken cheap Amazon stuff, had it sandblasted and powder coated locally, and it's turned out phenomenal.
Oh yeah, no. As long as it's prepared properly and baked on and everything else.
Yeah, you're pulling out of the box from Amazon. The corners are going to be chipped. Like it is what it is. And they look at me like, did you damage this when you were installing it? But I know better, so I take pictures. Hey, opened it out of the box, click, 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 send it to the customer right away. Here's some issues. Do you want me to continue?
Well, and this isn't a Moto-Built commercial, but I got my Moto-Built stuff. It wasn't damaged in shipping. If it was, I didn't give a rat's ass, because it didn't have powder coat on it. Yep. You prep it, you prime it, and you paint it, and then you do all that stuff again after you've gone on the trail for it. That skid system I told you about. I spent so much time sanding and prepping, and to make sure that the paint was going to stick to it. I knew that the first time off road is going to look like shit, but I didn't care. I wanted it right.
Did you test fit it before you installed it?
I did not. Okay. No.
Yeah. I got to put that as a shop. You got to test fit before you install, but let's be honest, good quality products like that usually just fit.
No, you're absolutely right. It's absolutely a wonderful idea, but doing this by myself in my driveway, with the standard 2 foot or whatever it is from the ground, God, that stuff is just so thick and wonderful and beautiful. I just love that stuff. It's like one of those things. It's like you mentioned the SYE earlier. You feel good because you know what you're getting by putting the SYE in there. Slip yoke eliminator is what we're talking about. But nobody knows. Nobody will ever know it's in there. But you. It's like, what is it? Peeing in the pool. You're the only one that gets the warm feeling.
Or the shift cable that you mentioned too.
So I actually I had an MP242 that came stock in the XJ, And I stretched so many chains and replaced the chains and gears and stuff so many times. I finally said, fuck it, and got an Atlas. And now I don't have to worry about no stinking chain. And also, too, the linkage is great because it's cables.
Atlas is on my to-order list for my current TJ build.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's just, and that's another one of those things where, other than the twin sticks, nobody knows. It's just this gorgeous, wonderful piece of technology that's in the Jeep, and nobody knows. All right, Mark, I can tell you're a big Jeep lover like me, and really appreciate you being on here tonight. And we'll have to have you back. We'll have to talk about more. We can bash your Gladiator and Jeep for a full hour next time.
Let's do it.
It'll be therapy.
Somebody needs to know what's going on out there.
I'm just so, I mean, I only have 24,000 miles on my 21, and I'm going to put that Baxter Performance filter adapter so I can help keep that 3.6 lasting for a long time. After getting the XJ with the 4.0, we have a TJ. My wife drives a TJ with a 4.0. I just couldn't see myself buying a Jeep because they don't make them with 4.0s anymore. But the 3.6 is a nice engine, even though it doesn't sound as good as the 4.0. Did you still have the 4.0 in your TJ, or have you already swapped that out?
Nope. I'm 350,000 miles.
Yes, that's a motor, man.
Yeah. I was just like, I could go down and do a bunch of stuff, but I'm like, even if it does blow, I can find one for $500 and I can throw it in.
Yeah.
Like, where else are you going to do that?
Well, I mentioned to you earlier about Greg Henderson doing those brute builds. I forget who it is now, and I'm gonna get in trouble. But they had those 4.0s gone through by a very well named a person, a shop that does it, and I think they're getting over 300 horsepower out of the stroker 4.0s that are in there. So there's a lot of things, you know this, but there's a lot of things you can do to a 4.0 and really make it come alive.
The only thing that has piqued my interest is that Cummins repower. That's the only thing that I'm like, ooh, I don't know, that low end torque.
Yeah, diesel would always be nice. I'm sad that the United States has not been very good about doing diesels, especially in passenger vehicles.
Yeah, and I think it was 2-3 years ago maybe they did that. It was the little 2.8. I think it was like $8,000, and it was because I think so many people started to do it in the TJs, pulling them from box trucks and forklifts, and they were like, okay, maybe there is a market. And I think they made like 300 of them or something. So that kind of piqued my interest when I saw that. I'm like, ooh, that might be nice to do, but it's probably too late to get a brand new one in the crate. So
right. Roll that coal. That would be really cool coming out of a TJ. All right, Mark, we'll sit here and talk for hours. I really appreciate you hanging in there with me and getting this interview recorded. And we'll talk to you again very, very soon.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Broadcasting since 2010.
You're my friend. You're my new friend.